more people coming today that we're aware of, and whoever else, but we're going to get started and get going. Let's pray, and off we go. So Heavenly Father, thank you again just for a time to get together to prepare our hearts, our minds, to get ready to go over to Israel on this trip. God, we thank you so much for this opportunity. We invite your presence here, and Lord, as we just learn a little bit more today about your land, God, we invite your presence here and ask that you would teach us. In Jesus' name, amen. Larry and Barb Schuler, we got your check yesterday, your copies of your passport and your registration. So we look forward to having you join us, and I'll be calling you later today. So by the time you watch us, I've already talked to you, so it was good talking to you. But at any rate, here we are. We're looking now at our day 4. Let's see, day 4, day 5. Day 5 on our trip. The first day and the second day was our flight over to Israel. Our third day was a day off on the Mediterranean Sea. Our fourth day was that trip up the coastal plain. We talked about that last week, and we also looked at the geography of Israel, remember. Looked at the different mountains and the bodies of water and everything. So today what we're going to do is we're going to just focus more on the northern part. So in your mind, the map of Israel goes all the way down to the floor, and what this is the Sea of Galilee. So we're way up north in the Galilee now. So we'll be looking at the Sea of Galilee north. We ended our fourth day with this bus trip. We came around the Sea of Galilee, and we stopped at this kibbutz right here called En Gev. Now we're going to be spending 4 nights at En Gev. It's a working kibbutz, so it's a socialist type of self-sustaining farm, I guess is the best way of describing it. So we'll talk about the kibbutzim later on. We're not going to spend much time today on it. It's just a very unique experience. They have a private beach that goes onto the Sea of Galilee. People love to go swimming in the Sea of Galilee. It's kind of fun to swim in the water where Jesus walked on the water. This is kind of fun. When you start to sink and drown in the Sea of Galilee, you're having a Peter experience. It's kind of cool. So we have that right here. In our last trip, we did have one of our young ladies almost drowned in the Sea of Galilee. So it was kind of crazy, but that's what it was. So it is water. My wife Connie does not swim. I was out there. I think, Gary, you were out in the water with me at the time, and she is deathly afraid of water. So I was out there with my daughter Christy, my son-in-law Brian, and Gary and I, and we were standing there talking, and we were talking about shoulder deep out in the water, and all of a sudden I look, and there is my beautiful wife splashing away in water almost over her head. She doesn't swim. And I see her, I just grab her, she comes over and says, "Babe, what are you doing out here?" She said, "This is the Sea of Galilee. God will never let me drown in the Sea of Galilee." I go, "Yes, He would." "You will drown out here." "Oh!" And they "Oh, let's go in it." But I was talking to the tour guide there, and they said every year about 6 tourists drown in the Sea of Galilee every year with that mindset. God would never let me drown in the sea. Yeah, He will. So it's a sea. It's not a sea, it's a lake, basically, but that's what it is. But anyway, it was fun. So we're going to take that 4th night. We come into En Gev. We're going to have our supper at En Gev. The evening's a great time to go into the water. It's just a sweet, sweet, sweet experience there at En Gev. In the morning, we're going to go into the Golan Heights, and I want to kind of point this out to you so you kind of see what's happening, because the Golan is a little bit different. The Golan, it gets its name from a city called Golan in Bashan. It's recorded in the Old Testament. Bashan over in Deuteronomy and again in Joshua was, you remember Og of Bashan, that big king in the area of the Bashan. It's all this area up in here on the east side of the Jordan River. This was given to the tribe of Manasseh. This was the area over here. Well, over time, as the dispersion, the diaspora took place and all, of course, all this goes on, and this became all Syria. So this is modern-day Syria, all the way up to this orange line here. That was at one time all Syria. And then the northern part of Jordan hit over in here. So this was all Syria. Now, the Golan, the reason they're called the heights is it's much higher than Israel is over here. So it's up on a plateau. It's very high. When we stay over here in En Gev, right across the road, there's a highway here. You can see this going up. And on top is just a much higher plateau. Well, this became a problem in modern-day Israel's time. So in 1973, something happened. It wasn't called the Golan, it was called the Golan Heights, but it was under Syrian control. This is all Syria back then in the 70s. And what Syria would do is they would lob mortars from this much higher position down on to the kibbutzim that were scattered all along the sea here, as well as over into Israel. So from, right up here, Rachel, please, please.
But that's why I'm asleep.
But we saved it for you. So, okay, this is everybody here, I think, for the day. Our four folks that thought they'd be at everyone aren't here now. Mary, Gary,
Larry?
Mary, Gary, Mary, and I know you're watching, guys, Harvey and his wife. And his wife. So at any rate, they would lob things onto the kibbutzim and onto Israel down here. So Israel was having a very difficult time defending that. They were appealing to the United Nations saying, help us here, they're bombing our farmers down here. And the United Nations said, you shouldn't be doing that, and that's all that happened. So it continued on, continued on. 1973, the year I graduated from high school, on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the nation of Israel, Syria and Egypt combined to attack Israel at the same time. Egypt came across onto the Sinai Peninsula and attacked Israel's positions down in there. And Syria came in really hard off the heights down into Israel. There's some interesting stories. You'll hear them. It's more fun to hear the Israelis tell you them. I don't remember the guy's name, but there was one tank commander, Yom Kippur. Everybody's with their families. Everybody's celebrating Yom Kippur. The Israel Army, the Israeli Defense Forces, had one tank defending the northern heights that day. One tank. Syria came down from the heights, and they started coming on into Israel. One tank between literally tens of thousands of Syrian soldiers and the entire underbelly of Israel. One tank. And it's just fun to see how God does stuff even today like he did in the Old Testament. Helping this guy. It's amazing. This one guy, I can't think of his name now, I'm bummed out on that, but at any rate, he was there and he looks and he sees all these Syrian forces coming on in, off the Golan Heights, into Israel. So he radios down, he says, we're under attack. There's like thousands of Syrian infantrymen and all their Russian-given artillery coming on into the Galilee. So they mobilize and they're getting up there as soon as possible. He's there by himself. Their understanding, Syria's understanding was there'd be nobody here. That's why they attacked that time. This guy is in a little ravine and there's just little hills. He's got his one little tank. He popped up, went down this, think of like an arroyo. He drove down the arroyo, popped up, and shot at them. And went back down. Turned it around, went over here, popped up, shot at him. Went down, went halfway, popped up, shot at him. The entire Syrian advancement stopped and radioed back to Damascus, saying, I thought there's not supposed to be anybody here. Popped up over here, shot at him. Popped up over here, shot at him. Just one guy, shot at him. Said, there is an entire tank brigade of Israelis up here. They're all over the place. They said, what? Our intelligence is wrong. Stop. Hold it. Stop. Just stop. And the advancement stopped. And he just kept, boom, boom, by himself. They stopped. Israel got their people there in time, held him off. He became a big old hero in Israel, obviously. But it's the hand of God right there. That was just God stopping.
Did that happen in the Bible too that way?
It sure did. It sure did. They saw angelic beings and they stopped.
Yeah.
So one man held off an approaching Syrian attack. It's one of the most amazing stories. To hear the Israelis tell it, they love to tell it, so we just let them tell it.
Moshe Dayan.
No, it's not. No one famous. There's famous there, not us. But so they're fighting in Egypt. They're fighting up here. They spank Egypt bad. You can go online and read about it. They spanked them bad down there. Casualties, they spanked Egypt bad. Took over the Sinai Peninsula. It was Syria's. Israel took it. They pushed the Syrian advancement back. Syria went back home. They kept on going. Israel got on top of the Golan Heights here, and they kept pushing them back. Damascus is right over here, right here. They came all the way to this orange line here. Actually to this pink line, this side of the pink line. So Israel advanced that much and took over all of this portion of Syria and said, we're not giving you that position anymore. The United Nations won't do anything about it. We will. Get out of here. And they said, you can't do that. We're going to do it, and there's Damascus. We're coming. All of a sudden, the United Nations got involved at that point. So wait a minute. Calm down, Israel. Don't go to Damascus. Just calm down. They stopped and they drew this line right here. And they called this the UNDOF, this area. It's like a demilitarized zone. It's the United Nations. And what they said, the term that they used was a disengagement. Israel disengaged from this war up here. Disengage yourself. This became the United Nations Disengagement Observation Forces. So it's UN forces, people from all over the world serving for the UN. They'll have little military posts throughout here, and this is just for the UN observation forces here. Israel, in 1973, occupied up to here, this orange line. In 1981, the Israeli government annexed this. They said, look, this was from the tribe of Manasseh. This is our land in the first place. It's now ours. And this became part of Israel in 1981 only. Think of it, just since 81. So the Golan Heights is now part of Israel. This is significant for us as Christians because there's some really cool things up here we get to go see now. So it's like, cool. But it's really good for Israel because it made the Galilee safe from the lobbing of bombs and mortars and artillery shells down on the farmland here. So,
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The Golan Heights became a part of Israel in 1981?
81.
Okay.
81. So over here, from this pink line, this way is Syria. Jordan sneaks up on here in the south. This is all Golan Heights. So when we were here at En-Gev, and we said right across the road is Syria, well, it used to be Syria. That's not really Syria anymore. That is the Golan. And the Golan is now part of Israel. So this is the Golan Heights. An interesting thing on modern day history with Israel, every time Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon attacks Israel, every time Israel spanks them and gets more land. Every time. Every time, then when they get the land, they start doing terrorism. Israel has elections like we do, and the leaders come in and say, look, we'll give you some more land, just don't attack us. We'll give you land, be nice. They give away their land, and they attack them. Israel goes and spanks them, they get more land. Back and forth. That's been going on since 48. So you'll see a t-shirt. Yeah, you'll see a t-shirt in Israel. It's kind of fun. It says, attack Israel. We need the land. And then it's one of these t-shirts you can pick up. It's kind of fun, but it's like, well, that's what happens. That's kind of it. That's true. But that's where that's coming from. So this is the Golan. It's the heights. So we're going to get up in the morning. One thing you should see, this pink line, that's just all Israel. Okay, so the pink is Israel. The orange is the Golan Heights. This is Lebanon's southern border here, this green. The pink border is just the Israeli side of that same border. This is the Sea of Galilee. This is the Jordan River. Jor means descending. Jordan, descending from Dan. So it's the Jordan River, descending into the Sea of Galilee and coming out of the Sea of Galilee, going down to the Dead Sea. There are three sources, or headwaters of the Jordan River. The Banias originates at the foot of Mount Hermon. It's in the Golan Heights. The Dan, way up here in Israel, in Dan. And then the Hesbani, this one, it goes up and originates in Lebanon. So there are three water sources that go into this drained lake. This used to be a little hula lake, but now it's just a drained basin. So the rivers flow into it and flow out of it and keep on going. There's a lot of farmland around here now. So that's what that is. That's why it's not blue. So that's kind of how we're looking at it. Mount Hermon is the only true mountain in Israel. It's in the Golan. It's about almost the size of the Sandias. It's a good-sized mountain. It's a real mountain. The rest of the mountains in Israel are mesa, baby mesas for the most part. They're not very big. So, but this one's a real mountain. They ski up here. There's snow here almost year-round. Was there snow when you were there? You remember? There usually is. There's usually snow. I don't remember. But this is a real mountain. This is the real deal. So that's Mount Hermon. Okay, we kind of have an idea of where we are now. Everyone's kind of got it. Any questions on just the geography what we're looking at? So the Golan, this is much higher. So we're going to go up onto the Golan Heights on day 5. We'll hop on our bus. Oh, one thing. Notice the pink here. This is Israel. Before the invasion of Syria in 1973, this was Israel here. They had this little loop right around this, just this little portion of the Sea of Galilee right here. And this is one of the kibbutzim that was getting bombarded all the time. That's where we're staying. So there it is. So that has been Israel since 48. That's just been Israel. And then,
there.
what's that?
We're staying there.
We stay right here. This is the kibbutz we stay at, yes.
Okay.
So we'll be here at the kibbutz. It's got its own private beach on the Sea of Galilee. So that's how you can walk right into the Sea of Galilee, swim in the Sea of Galilee. It's pretty sweet. It's real sweet. This is the morning I want to encourage you. We have 4 mornings there. I would encourage you every morning. This is the one morning to get up early. We always get up really early anyway there. Set your alarm for an extra half hour, 45 minutes. You're going to walk right out your sliding door to your little bungalow that you're staying in. It's very small. It's like a Motel 6 with a screen door that you go out the back. As you go out the back, there's a bunch of grass, and there's a Sea of Galilee right there. Get up in the morning. Be there as the sun is rising on the Sea of Galilee. You will not regret it. Take your Bible with you. Open up the Word. Read about Jesus, what He did here all around the Sea of Galilee. That hasn't changed. And you will not believe the experiences you're going to have there. The nice part is when you come back home, you open up your Bible to where you were reading there, and you're right back. You're right back. You smell it, you hear it, you see it, you taste it. It's fantastic. Yeah, Rob?
Okay, last week you said that women should not wear shoulder shoulders or below the knees.
That's only when you were going into certain churches, synagogues, religious sites.
So the beach doesn't matter? Okay.
No, our first day there, you're going to see people dressed extremely scantily.
Okay.
They're going to be way sunburned the next day.
Okay.
But that's just what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's just for on our tour days, and we always tell you the day before we go. Tomorrow, ladies, be covered.
Okay.
And that's when you just bring something to wrap around you. You should always have it with you anyway in case we stop somewhere and you need to be covered. But that's just, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's a good question. So we get up, we leave En-Geb. We're going to drive along the road here, around the Sea of Galilee. We're going to go up into the Golan. We're going to keep on going, and usually we just keep on going until we get up to Mount Hermon. Now it can be switched around in our lit classes. We gave the principle, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be easily broken." That's really true up in the Golan. So it just depends on what's going on in the Golan. There's a lot of military exercises up here. If you've been in the military, you'll have fun here because you're going to see a lot of the Israeli tanks. You're going to see Israeli armored vehicles. They do a lot of things here. I don't know if we did this last time or not. Did we go up to the machine gun nest this time? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We'll go up here, and Israel's got tons of machine gun nests at high points all over this on the Syrian border.
Wow.
So, not all the time, but sometimes we get to go up in there. It's kind of fun. You go up and you get, check this out. They got the sandbags up there. It's hot and it's everything. And then right over here, guys, let's see, it's right over here, is this road that goes all the way over to Damascus. It's called the road to Damascus. It's the road that Saul was converted on. So from the Golan, we can look down on this side and we see it. It's hard, but you go, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere between Damascus and here. Somewhere out there it happened. It's pretty cool. We try to get there whenever we can around the middle of the day, between 12 and 3, because that's when Saul had his vision. And you see the brightness of the sun, of course, and you go realize it was so bright it blinded him. So it just kind of makes that passage come alive. If we don't go there, it's usually because there's some unrest or for some reason they don't want us that close to the border. So I can't guarantee we'll be there. They always keep us way back from anything that's even a little bit sketchy. So that's what it is. So we go to Mount Hermon. When we go to Mount Hermon, that is kind of key because it was there that most people believe the mount that Jesus transfigured himself. So we sometimes would go up on the mount. This last time I know we didn't. We just stayed and we looked at it and said it was up there. And the reason we did that, if you remember right, was because of jelly. That guy was selling all that good jelly and all that stuff there.
Oh, yes.
So instead of going on Mount Hermon, we bought jelly. So I mean, there it is. But I could not get our people away from the jelly. This is some great stuff. And I go, okay, we got to just let them buy the jelly. There's Mount Hermon right there, guys. Okay. So we went all the way to Israel. We got some good jelly. We didn't go on top of Mount Hermon. But yeah, be flexible. We saw it. You saw it. It was pretty good size. Nice mountain. And really, when you go up, you don't really. There's not much to see when you go there. That's why I didn't make it. Because we can go up on the mountain and you're like, okay, here we are. We don't go all to the top, we just go up a little ways. So we can do it and look at the mountain, or we can go up and be on the mountain. Personally, I like it better looking at the mountain. You get to see it, and then we just go through the transfiguration. But that's typically what we do. We go here first and then come to Caesarea Philippi. But what I want to do is, in the Word, I want to go to Caesarea Philippi first, and then we'll go back to Mount Hermon, because that's how it's listed in the Gospel of Matthew. So that's probably how Jesus did it when he was up here. But it tells us in chapter 16 of Matthew, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, that's right here. Now, Philip was the son of Herod the Great. He was one of the tetrarchs. When Herod the Great died, he divided all of his kingdom, so to speak, up among his sons. Philip got this part up here. Philip built this city and named it in honor of Caesar. That was a typical thing to do. Remember Caesarea by the sea? On day 4, we spent our time there last week talking about that. This is the other Caesarea. Caesarea, but Philip was the builder. He calls it Caesarea Philippi. That's why it's called Philippi. It's up here in the headwaters of the Banias, coming down of Hermon. Now, as they did excavation there, they found out a whole lot about Caesarea Philippi. I used to think of it as this rural place like it is now with the waters and the greenery. As they did excavation, they found, no, this was a major city. This was a city. As they excavated, they found that this was a Roman type of city. That's why he's in the region, not in the city itself. Because Jesus, being a Jew, would not go into these Roman cities. Jesus never went into Tiberias, because it was a Roman city. He walked in the region of Caesarea Philippi. He took him out here. The city itself, Caesarea Philippi, was full of Roman gods. They had Caesar worship going in there. They had Bacchus worship going in there. They had all kinds of weird worship, but it was known for the god Pan. And what's really interesting about the god Pan is when we go, now it looks rural. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful area. They've got the start of this river here, and they got this cave, and it's just like, it's a grotto, a fern grotto, and a little tree where you have a little Bible study where we get into chapter 16, we hear all about this. It's beautiful, but at the time it was a city. And Pan was the main character. Caesar worship and Pan. But Pan, this god Pan, was thought to be, he had an interesting appearance. Pan had, he had goat feet. He was red, had little horns, had a pitchfork. Who's that sound like? Yeah, in Christianity, we've taken the god Pan and said that's what Satan looks like. So Pan is how we picture Satan oftentimes. The Bible says Satan's amazing. We tend to picture him as Pan. But this is where Pan worship was centered in this region. So Jesus took them into this area. And they got all these different gods and all these different temples and all these different altars all around here. And it's here, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" Well, some say you're John the Baptist, some Elijah, others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. And Jesus looked at him and says, "But who do you say that I am?" And this is where you get that great confession. Simon Peter answered and said, "Well, you're the Christ. You're the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered and says, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah. Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter. You are Petros. And on this," he uses a different word, Petra, "I will build my church." First time Jesus ever uses the word church. Right here, Caesarea Philippi. This recorded. "And the gates of hell," the council of hell. We talked about the gates last week, the place of council. "The gates of hell, the council of Hades, shall not prevail against it." Now, this is the scripture that the organized church in the 4th century used to justify that they were the center of Christianity. The pastor in Rome said, look, Peter planted the church in Rome. Peter died in Rome. And when Jesus said, "You are Peter, and I'm going to build my church," he was talking about on Peter. Problem is, there is no evidence at all that Peter founded the church in Rome. In fact, there's evidence that he didn't do it. Because Paul said, I'm not going to build on another man's foundation. And Paul was in Rome, writing to Rome, wanting to get to Rome. He got to Rome. There's no evidence that Peter planted the church in Rome. So it's an interesting little thing there that takes place with that. But there's two different words, Petros and Petra. You are a little pebble. But on what you just said, on this solid rock foundation, I'm going to build my church. So as an evangelical Christian, we take the position that no, it wasn't built on Peter. It was built on what Peter said. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Yeah. Caesarea Philippi. So we're going to go there. When we get off the bus in Caesarea Philippi, if I forget, one of you please remember, there's a fig tree right where they parked the bus. And it is the most amazing thing, because do you remember the significance of a fig leaf? Remember Adam and Eve? They covered themselves with fig leaves. It's a beautiful, beautiful example. I won't do this to you. David did it to me. I probably should do it to you. But he got off the bus. He says, Claude, come here. You know what this is? And I go, oh, it's a tree. He says, see the leaf. And the leaf is interesting in light of how it was used in the scripture, because the fig leaf in Israel, and that's about the size of it. It's a big old leaf, and it looks like that. And he says, he picked off the leaf, and he said, put this on a sensitive part. So I lifted up my arm. Now rub it, just rub it. Just close your arm. He smiles. Oh, sweating, hot, burning, itching. Oh man, it's not like poison ivy. It's worse.
But those are different from the trees in Bulgaria.
Yes, different types of
So
figs.
there's many fig trees there.
Yeah, different types of figs. But you'll see when you get off. It's a different type of fig. There's different figs in different parts of the world. California's got figs, a completely different breed of figs. This is Israeli fig, but it's interesting. It's just interesting. The point being is they took that and tried to cover very sensitive parts of their body.
So will you show us again?
Yeah, remind me. No. I will not do that again. But you can try it. I'll never do that again. But it's the most amazing thing, because the whole concept is they sinned and they realized they were naked. And when we realize that we are spiritually naked, we try to cover ourselves with fig leaves, with our own works.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable. And even though they were covered, they still hid and knew they were naked. But then the Lord killed the innocent animals at the end of chapter 3 there. The innocent died the first time to get the skins of the animals, and God covered them with the death of someone innocent, covering them for their sin. It's just an interesting picture as we look at that. But it's a reminder, because the fig leaf becomes a picture of religion, our attempt to cover our own nakedness, and it's always uncomfortable when we try to do that. It's just one of these pictures that we get at Caesarea Philippi. There's a fig leaf right when we get off the bus. So when someone just remember that, please, and say, where's that fig leaf? I'll put there's the fig leaf. You go, oh,
Is it an
man.
actual tree, or it's just a picture of it?
It's a tree. It's a tree just growing, a big old tree. It just sits there every year. It's been there for years. He did that to me when Christy was 10. So he did that 22 years, 23 years ago. And every group since then, I try to remember to show it to you. I think I showed it to you. Yeah, you showed it to you. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's there. So Caesarea Philippi, we're going to go there. We spend quite a bit of time there. It's interesting stuff in regard of Pan, of Baal worship, Caesar worship. It's one of the headwaters we're going to talk about of the Jordan River. But the main significance is this is where Jesus took his disciples, and he wanted to get away up into this region. That's in chapter 16 of Matthew. Now, if we get into chapter 17 of Matthew, the next chapter, it says, now after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother. He led them on a high mountain. When you're in Israel, that settles the issue as far as I'm concerned, because there's only one high mountain in all of this whole area. These are not high mountains. Mount Hermon is the only high mountain. And he led them up on a high mountain. He was here in chapter 16. In chapter 17, he leads them up on a high mountain. Religion, specifically the Roman Catholic religion, traditionally he says, no. It's Mount Tabor down here. So it's not a high mountain, number one. And number two, so we're saying Jesus did this booked it down here, transfigured, and then took it, guys, let's go, and booked it back up. It just doesn't fit the gospel account, and the high mountain kind of settles it as far as I'm concerned. So he took them up on a high mountain by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, his clothes became as white as light, and behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with them. Then Peter answered and said to him, Lord, it is good for us to be here. Check this out now. If you wish, Peter says, let us make here 3 tabernacles. One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. Moses, the law, Elijah representing the prophets. And we start to see now Peter, he made the great confession, and then Jesus said, I'm going to go to Jerusalem and die, and he says, no, don't do that. And he says, get behind me, Satan. So Peter's up and down all the time. Well, now here he is on Mount Hermon. He's seeing the transfiguration. Peter steps forward again and says, it's good for us to be here. Really? Okay. We're going to make 3 tabernacles for you. One for you, one for Elijah, one for Moses. I'm sure he's waiting to be, oh, blessed are you, Peter, Bar-Jonah. Flesh and blood hasn't given you that, but you got... No, it didn't work that way. While he was still speaking, he's equating Jesus with Moses and Elijah. While he was still speaking, wow, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and suddenly a voice came out of the cloud saying, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him! Exclamation point. Peter, you need to calm yourself. When the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces, were greatly afraid. Jesus came to them and touched them, says, arise, don't be afraid. When they had lifted up their eyes, no one was there. They saw no one but Jesus only. So the transfiguration takes place up here. Now it's interesting. We probably won't go up there. I went up there one time, and I'm not sure it's worth it. I'm speaking of Mount Tabor. So 4 days later, we're going to drive down, going to Jericho and Jerusalem. And off on the right side of the bus, you're going to see Mount Tabor. And Mount Tabor is that interesting looking mountain. It just kind of looks like this. It's perfectly round. No matter how you look at it, it looks like that. It just looks like a gumdrop, like a dot. Remember those old candy, the dots? It's like a big old dot sitting there. And if you look up on it, that's the traditional site from religious perspective of the Transfiguration. So I read about it, I heard about it. So I talked to David on one of our tours. I want to go up to Mount Tabor. He says, nothing to see up there. I said, I want to go to Mount Tabor. I read some stuff about it. I want to see it. Okay, you're the boss. Let's go. So up we went to Mount Tabor. It took us about 45 minutes to get up there from the road. And one of my pastors, Mark Kirk, was with me. He and I jumped off the bus just for a second to see if it was worth seeing. We jumped up there to see if what they said was up there, and it's up there. I saw it with my own eyes, it's there. The Catholic Church, and I'm not bashing Catholics, there are a lot of very faithful, dedicated Catholics. I have no problem bashing some of their doctrine. But it was interesting because years ago the Roman Catholic Church said, this is the site of the Transfiguration. And they built 3 small little tabernacles up there. One is dedicated to Moses, one is dedicated to Jesus, and one is dedicated to Elijah. And it's like, you gotta be stinking kidding me. That's what God said, don't do that. You just hear him, and they're up there, and they're there. So I just went up there and took a picture of them. There they are. Got back in the bus and we left, and that was the end of it. There's nothing to see up there. It's just these little booths. But that's Mount Tabor. That's down here. So this day up here, it's all about the Golan, Caesarea Philippi, Mount Hermon, and then we have a great day. And this is a day when you don't have to cover. You want to be comfortable because you might get a little wet. So far on the trip, the temperature has been about perfect. And typically you're coming to me and say, well, this isn't that hot. God, I don't know what you're talking about. This is not that hot. And I'll say, isn't this awesome? Well, you said it was going to be hot. Nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's nice. It's just really nice. And for the first 8 days of the trip, it is so sweet and nice. And the temperature about 80, maybe 85. At night it gets down to like 81. It's just nice. It's just perfect. This is one of those perfect days. It doesn't rain. It never rains. It won't rain. No rain. Promise you. Not a drop. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. After we go to Mount Hermon, we'll stop and buy some jelly. And then we'll go over here to Dan. Now Dan is just one of my favorite places. And I say it every day that we go through. They're always my favorite. I love Caesarea, one of my favorite places. The Dan Nature Reserve is just, oi, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's green, it's lush. This river goes along here, there's a pathway to walk. So you're just walking along the river and you realize, man, this is where this river has been here from biblical times. And we're in the midst of this, and it's just pretty much perfect. It's just beautiful. And you're walking on these paths, and it's just nice, and people are laughing and talking, because by now we're getting to know each other, and people are looking pretty rough by now. We don't care about what we look like. The first couple of days, everyone's got makeup on. And even the ladies have makeup. Everyone's got makeup on. We're all looking good, you know. And by now, we're not. We don't care. We're just having fun. And we're just loving Jesus and learning stuff. And it's just amazing. You can't believe you're in Israel, and it's fantastic. And you've just been at the place where the transfiguration took place. Are you stinking kidding me? You've seen the road to Damascus. You've been where Caesarea Philippi. You're going, I can't even believe I'm here. And now we're in this like garden. This is beautiful. It's just it's beautiful. And we're walking, and all of a sudden, as you're walking along, we get to this opening, and there is something there. It's like, what is this? And this is one of my favorite sites in all of Israel. We'll cover this in greater depth as we get closer. I just want to read a little bit of it so you have a background of this portion of the word. But without this, if you don't know this, this site means absolutely nothing, and you get ripped off. So I want everybody on our trip to know this, because this is amazing. Solomon takes over to be king after David dies. Solomon's heart turns, you know the story, at all the wives and concubines, and he dies. And in 1 Kings chapter 12 it says this, and Rehoboam, that is Solomon's son, Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had gone to Shechem to make Rehoboam king of Israel. So it happened when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, heard it. Now Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, was a political opponent to Solomon. And Solomon was raising taxes and drafting people to work and build for him, and the people were getting upset with Solomon. So Jeroboam comes on the scene, and he takes a stand. Well, Solomon says, that's it. He's got to go. And Jeroboam takes off to Egypt, stays away. Well, he heard that Solomon died, and they're going to make Rehoboam king. So here he is, kind of the leader of the opposing party, if you will, hearing that Rehoboam, Solomon's son, is going to be made king. So they sent and they called Jeroboam. Then Jeroboam and the whole assembly of Israel came, and he spoke to Rehoboam, the new king, the son of Solomon, saying, you know, your father made our yoke heavy. He was heavy on us. Now, therefore, just lighten up the burdensome service of your father. Lighten up his heavy yoke which he put on us, it will serve you. But the taxes were crazy, the draft was crazy. So he says, depart for 3 days, Rehoboam tells him, and then come back to me, I'll let you know what I decide. So they departed. Then the new king, King Rehoboam, he's 40 years old at this time, he consulted the elders who stood before his father Solomon while he still lived, and he says, how do you advise me to answer these people? So he goes to his dad's advisors, and they spoke to him, saying, if you will be a servant to these people today and serve them, if you answer them and speak good words to Jeroboam and all of his followers, they're going to be your servants forever. It's a done deal. You need to make a good tire. But Rehoboam rejected the advice which the elders had given him and consulted the young men who'd grown up with him, talked to his buddies. And he said, what do you guys think I should do? He says, how should we answer this people who've spoken to me, saying, lighten the yoke which your father put on us? And the young men who had grown up with him spoke to him, saying, this is how you should speak to the people who have spoken to you, saying, your father made our yoke heavy, make it lighter on us. This is what you should say to him, my little finger will be thicker than my father's waist, And now, whereas my father put a heavy yoke on you, I will add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, I will chastise you with scourges. You haven't seen nothing yet, you know. So new to power, young cabinet around him, so to speak. You're the king, stick it to him. Rehoboam, you're the man. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had directed, when he said, come back to me the third day. And the king answered the people roughly, rejected the advice which the elders had given him, and he spoke to them according to the advice of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, I'm going to add to your yoke. My father chastened you with whips, I will chastise you with scourges. So the king did not listen to the people, for the turn of events was from the Lord, that he might fulfill his words which the Lord had spoken by Abijah, the Shilonite, to Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Earlier he had told Jeroboam, I'm going to give you some of this. Now when all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, saying, what share have we in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to your own house, O David. So Israel departed to their tents. But Rehoboam reigned over the children of Israel who dwelt in the cities of Judah. So there is now a split in the nation of Israel. 10 tribes followed Jeroboam to the north. Only Benjamin and Judah follow Rehoboam to the south. And Jeroboam now is going to establish, you can read about the rest of this, and I would encourage you to read it in 1 Kings 12, 13, and 14. Because what Jeroboam does is he establishes a new nation, so to speak, to the north. But he's got a problem. And it makes sense when we look at the problem he was facing, because again, if this is the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea here, there's this break now. Jerusalem is here. The 10 tribes follow Jeroboam, and they take the name of Israel. So after 1 Kings 12, Israel becomes the 10 tribes to the north. That's the name of that new nation that's formed up here. And down here, what used to be the southern part of Israel takes the name of Judah. So now we have a nation formed here, Judah, the 2 tribes of Judah and Benjamin, and the remaining 10 tribes take the name Israel. Well, what Jeroboam does, he's got an issue because Jerusalem is down here in Judah. And every year, 3 times a year, the men of Israel are supposed to go to Jerusalem, Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacles, to worship. He's concerned if my people start going down to Jerusalem, there's going to be anarchy when they come back. So he says, here's the thing, guys. You don't have to go to Jerusalem to worship God. I'm going to build an altar here in Bethel, on the southern border, so you don't have to go all the way down into Judah. That's not even our country anymore. And he went up here and he built another altar up here in Dan. So if you live in the northern part, you go to Dan. If you're in the southern part, go to Bethel, but you don't have to go to Jerusalem. He also said, you know, when he did that, the Levites who were up here said, okay, you're whacked now. And all the Levites left and went to Jerusalem. So he had no Levites to minister. So he said, anybody who wants to be a priest, come on in. You want to be a priest? Come on, we'll make you a priest. And then he said, instead of it the 7th month doing this, we'll do ours on the 8th month. So he made a new priesthood, a new place of worship, and a new worship season. He made it convenient, worship by convenience. And we look at that and say, oh man, how crazy, but yet we do the same thing today. When the Bible tells us, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together, this is the habit of some, especially when you see the day approaching. Yet worship by convenience. I'm just going to turn the TV on, I'll just watch it at TV tonight. I can be a Lone Ranger Christian. Not well. Not well. If that is your source of fellowship, you have no fellowship. I'm not saying don't watch TV, record it and watch it whenever you want to, but we need the fellowship.
Yes.
So we see this taking place here. But he's got these 2 places of false worship. Well, not that long ago, they were excavating up in this area, and they came across something interesting, and they got all the archaeologists up there, and they started slowly, and as we go through, we'll see these different digs in Israel. They use toothbrushes now, just toothbrushes to slowly not damage anything, and they took forever and a day, and when they had found it, I saw it at different stages. It was pretty cool. I'd go back every other year, and you can see, oh man, they're doing more. It takes a while with the toothbrush, but they got it. This is the last time we went, it's done. And what they found is they found the stinking altar of Jeroboam in Dan. So we go there and go, that's the altar, there it is. And you look and you can see it. It's crazy. So we have a Bible study there. You know what we're going to be studying when we go there. So you might want to read 1 Kings 12, 13, and 14, because every time I read that, I'm right there. And I see the altar, and I see what they did. So that's old. Should not have done that. But you're going to see that altar. It's pretty amazing. So we have this beautiful walk in the dam along the water, and then we come to the altar of Dan. And then we walk a little bit further, and we come to the area known as Laish. It's an ancient city. Laish. For us, it's cool. It's just a little ruins. To the Jew, it's everything. Now, if we read in the book of Judges, and I believe it's chapter 17 and 18 in Judges, it's where Dan, they're given their allotment of land down in the western part of the Promised Land alongside the Mediterranean Sea. I mean, it's a pretty nice area. But there were Philistines in the area. And Dan says, man, it's going to be a big old battle. So they sent out a scouting party, and in the book of Judges it talks about their scouting party. They get into now. But they scout and they go all the way up here to Laish. And they find in Laish just a bunch of farmers up there. They got nothing. They're just peaceful people up there just farming the land. I mean, it's beautiful. It's nice. And they're just hanging out. And the Danites go and check it out and say, well, we can take this. It's nice. And there are no Philistines up here. So they go back down and they say, you know, we found a place up in the northern portion. Let's go take it. So they go up there. And they destroy the people of Laish and take their land. Not what God gave them. They went for the soft part. God called me here, but that's too hard, so I'm going to go where it's easy. You know? And they take over this area of Laish. And if you look on your map sometimes, just when you have time, and you look at the allotment of the tribes on the maps, you'll see Dan down by the Mediterranean Sea. You'll see another little Dan up north. And that Dan up north is when they move. They should not have done that, but they moved. Well, Laish is interesting because prior to that, it was on the path that is known as the Fertile Crescent. So people from Mesopotamia would come over, not through the desert down here, they'd come over and come in along this bridge on their way to Egypt over here. And that road went right through Laish. Just north of Laish over here is a place called Haran, or Haran. The place where Abraham was when his father Terah took him from Ur the Chaldees. They followed the Fertile Crescent. They got to Haran and they waited there. And then remember his dad died and then Abraham came on into the Promised Land to Bethel and Ai and all. He'd have come through Laish. We're going to find the ruins of Laish, but it gets better. Because they were excavating that area. This is Laish, and they're all excited. And they're digging deeper because the deeper you go, the earlier in history it is. And they found this very interesting gate in the side of the hill. Not made of stone, made of clay bricks. But completely embedded in this hill. So talk about toothbrushes, man, they took a big time on this. They have it all covered now with tents and that, so the sun doesn't hit it, the rain doesn't hit it and everything. But as you look at it, it looks like this is all clay. So you're going to see this like this. Think of clay bricks, and this is way out of proportion, of course, but you get the idea. And then this is all just dirt packed in there. And this is the side of a hill, but you're going to see the entrance of a gate. And there's dirt in here, dirt over here, and this is a mountain, there's grass growing up here. So we're going to walk here and look, and you're going to go, so what's the big deal? Because they believed this was the gate from the north to Laish and into the land. Why is that important to the Jew? Abraham would have walked through that on his way to the Promised Land. So they go, oh, they're excited. They are so, they call him Grandpa. So Grandpa would have come through this gate right here. That's how you came into the land, right there. So they're very excited. It's becoming almost a holy spot for the Jews. For us as Christians, we respect it because it's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, maybe Abraham came through, or it could be. You look around, it wouldn't look like this, but it was like, huh, isn't that something? To the Jew, this is really exciting. So usually the tour guide gets a little excited. He goes, oh, this is the gateway to Laish. Do you know why? And it's fun because our group goes, well, wouldn't that have been the way Abraham would have come in when he came in from Ren? Christians don't know that. How do you need Israel 101, right? Because you're the only ones getting Israel 101 right now of all the groups, because it was David's idea and I did it. So you're going to be well schooled when you get there. They love that. They love that. So remember, Grandpa's Gate, Laish. That will be our day. So what it says here, now listen to it. Oh, one more thing. Fun place. I've never had a dream about Israel except this one place. All the time I've been there, I've never dreamt I'm in Israel, except this place. It's crazy because it has nothing to do with the Bible. But as a man who can easily get back into your childhood, this place is cool, guys. The ladies typically don't like it as much as the guys. The guys love it. They love it, love it, love it, love it. And what it is, it's called Nimrod's Fortress. We just looked at it. We didn't get in, I don't think, right? Because of the jelly. But this place is cool. This place is cool. It's a Crusaders' castle that was served as an overlook towards this whole valley here 1,000 years ago. When the Crusaders came in, they built this castle. Think of King Arthur. It's that kind of castle. There's dungeons. There's moats. Yeah, it's extremely cool. It's extremely cool. And it's just fun. You go in there, you feel like you're a little boy. You're like, this is really cool. And it's fun. It's fun. It has no biblical significance whatsoever. But it sure is fun. So we might get up there. If not, you get a picture of a castle. But if we can get in there and get a little bit quicker on the jelly, Nimrod's Fortress is pretty good. Pretty good. And then, after we're done with everything up in here, I'm not sure which river. I think it's Banias, but it could be the dam. On one of them, they have kayaks and inner tubes. So we just stop late in the day, and we hop on either a kayak or an inner tube, and we just go floating on down the Jordan River and just have fun. I've done both. We've done the kayaking and the inner tubes. The inner tubes I actually prefer to the kayak because you just get wetter and you have a little bit more fun. But either one works. They're both fun.
Is it because the kayak you have to paddle?
Yeah, you gotta work. You gotta work. The tube you just float. It's awesome. And it's just fun. But either one works. Either one works. Whatever you want to do, whatever's available, that's what we do. So we'll go down. It's not very long. We might go maybe 3 or 4 miles. It's just fun to say, we're in the Jordan River. We're in the headwaters of the Jordan now. So don't be saying, this must be where Jesus baptized. No, 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 no. We're way up here. We're in one of the headwaters of the Jordan. Jesus baptized down there on the floor of the map, just north of the Dead Sea. We're going to baptize in the Jordan River just south of the Sea of Galilee. So it's the same river between the Galilee and the Dead Sea, but we're going to be kayaking up here in the dam, or the dam is up here. And that'll be our kayaking or inner tube day. And it's just fun. If you don't swim, it doesn't make any difference, especially with the inner tube, because hang on and have fun. It's just fun. It's just fun. So that'll be our day. We get back to En-Gev in time for an amazing supper. A lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit, everything grown right there. Lots of meat. Let's talk about the food a little bit before we close off. We've got 1 minute. Sandy, talk about the food quickly.
It's very good.
Come on, girl, tell us about it. Do you get enough?
Yes, it's plentiful. The food is very tasty. It's very flavorful. It's beautiful, colorful, and definitely more than you can possibly eat.
Yeah,
we have more food than what you can eat in a single meal. It's
Yeah,
very good.
Almost all the meals are buffet. They have just food set up. So you just help yourself. And there is no way anybody, it's not possible to leave there hungry unless you want to.
Yeah.
It's not possible. I mean, there's probably 12 different kinds of meats, probably 50 types of vegetables. Vegetables you haven't even heard of, they're sitting there, just eat them. Desserts, probably 50 kinds of desserts.
Well, there was probably 10 tables of food.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like tables, like what we have here.
No, no.
Tables.
Yeah.
Tables of food.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's just, and it's ice sculptures, not at the caboose, but other places they have ice sculptures with the lemonade running off the ice. I mean, it's like, what is this? This is fantastic. So you work hard, you learn a lot. We're going to have some extremely spiritual moments. We get back to wherever we're staying, and it's, let's eat. Now, when we eat, when they ask us to do is to, I'll tour wearing stuff like this, and a hat. But at the meal, they want the guys to have long pants on. Gary, you wearing long or short pants?
Long.
Okay, stand up, because Gary's dressed for supper right there. There's a supper dress. Something like that.
Casual.
Just casual pants and a shirt, that's it. So, but they want you wearing long pants and a shirt with collars. I couldn't wear this to supper. They want collars on your shirt, long pants for the guys. Gals can wear skirts or slacks, not shorts, for the meals. It's just for the evening meal. So the evening meal, so it works good. And what I like about it, kind of makes you, even though you're a little bit tired, you go back to the room, you typically rinse off because you're going to be hot and sweaty. So you just get showered up, you get all fresh and clean. We get back at 4:30, supper's usually at 7. So you've got about 2.5 hours, spend an hour in the sea, maybe an hour and a half, then you go shower, get cleaned up. And then that's where typically, even still at this time, you're still looking a little bit good for supper. By the time we get to Jerusalem, you're not even looking good for supper. We're still looking okay at this point. So this is where we kind of look, I look good now, and then we go sit down, we eat, and we have fun. Afterward, we'll have either worship times down here, or just walking along the sea times down here. Sometimes we'll have a Bible study down here. Just whatever, it just depends how the day is going. Sometimes we'll arrange to take a bus and drop us off into Tiberias. Tiberias is a great place to go for a walk. You get some ice cream. You buy some really excellent, excellent, excellent dresses and skirts at a very good price. Very good price. And that's the place to buy. Tiberias is awesome. This kind of outfit right here. Come stand up here real quick. You see what Monica's wearing right here? You'll see a lot of this kind of styled stuff.
She got this in Bulgaria.
That's a Bulgarian one. Nice. Well, that one.
Yeah.
That's a Bulgarian one. You're going to see that type of stuff in Israel. It's just different, but cool and cheap. That's a Bulgarian. That's a nice one. Cool. But you'll get stuff like that over there. So it's a fun place to shop. A lot of ice cream places. Spend $3. Ice cream is big there. You're walking along the Sea of Galilee. If you want to, you can hop on a little carriage. And they got horse-drawn carriages. You can go for a horse ride through Tiberias. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff to do. You just go have fun in Tiberias. It's fun. Tiberias is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a place that Jesus never went to, Roman city, so we know he didn't go there, but he saw it. And it's pretty cool. Tiberias is a cool place to end today. Fun place to end. So we do that from Engev. Those are kinds of some of the things we'll do. It's just fun. It's just fun. Yeah, Monica?
I have a question. What exactly is kibbutz? Is that like the Israel version of a hotel, or is it like a communal, like camp?
Yeah, we're going to spend some time on, we're going to spend one day on the kibbutz, but just as a quick overview, the plural is I-M. So kibbutz, one, kibbutzim, more than one. So the kibbutzim, there used to be tons of them all over, and it was a way for Israel to work the land. And it was very unique. If this would be this part of a kibbutz, what would happen is we'd get together, here we are, and we'd find out what we're good at. So we'd say, okay, maybe I'm real good at planting, working in the field. So Keith and I are going to be field guys. Amos, let's say, is a cook. He's going to be the cook. Michael, you're going to be over the barns and milking the cows and taking care of the livestock. That's Michael's thing. And Gary's going to be working, where are you going to work, Gary? In the fishery with all the catching the fish and working with the fish. So everyone's got their job. Then we go to the women, and some of the women say, I'm really good in the gardening. I'm great with raising vegetables. If you're good, you guys raise the vegetables. Well, now we're married, we got kids, what are we going to do with the kids? If Connie's working in the vegetable garden, I'm working out in the fields, we got kids, and I love kids. I'll take care of the kids, so you three take care of the kids. So you got daycare and education, and they're learning over here. And Robin, you're going to be doing, what do you want to do?
Anything but gardening.
Okay, so Robin's going to take care of, she's heading up a whole group of ladies, and they're going to take care of servicing all where we live. They're going to take care of all the linen, the laundry, all that kind of stuff. So you see, everyone finds what they're doing, and we all share the same. We all get paid the same. If you're working in the garden, working the laundry, working with the kids, we all get the same. Everything goes into the pot, and we all live off it. It was communism at a very grassroots way. We had our own government. We had everything. We took care of everything. If I got too old to work,
What did you do?
I stayed right there, and you guys took care of me.
Kind of like a hippie community.
It was based on the kibbutz. The hippie commune was based on the kibbutz in Israel. That's what Israel did. They still haven't had them all over the place. Well, then tourism hit, so the kibbutz said, wait a minute, we'll build this place here, And you guys are good with hotel management, well, just come on in, tourists. Here we are. Hey. But in the, about 15 years ago, it started to become an issue. And they started, Monica's growing up in this kibbutz, and she goes, I don't want to stay in this kibbutz forever. I want to go to Jerusalem and Tel Aviv where things are happening. I'm not. And they started losing their kids to the big cities and everything. It's like, became an issue. There's some political things, and they changed a lot now, so they're a little bit different now, but that's the foundation of it. We go there now, it's really geared, this one especially is really geared for tourists. Let me see again.
It's very nice.
It's nice, it's awesome. A little bit of work we get to do is,
I love mom and pop places, kind of like things like families that own them.
it's owned by the, it's owned by the whole kibbutz.
Oh, okay.
It's theirs. It's just,
The whole
you come,
commune.
the whole commune owns it. There'll be
Okay.
people there, like we
Yeah.
talked with Robin will have her
Yeah.
group coming in, taking care of that. We'll go into Michael's cafeteria, and he's gonna have a great place for us to eat.
Yeah.
And it's just all there, and it's just a commune.
Okay.
But it's Jews or whoever. Back in the 70s, a lot of American kids, like Michael was saying with the hippies, a lot of American kids would go to Israel and live at the kibbutz. You could live there for a year, be in Israel, work 5 days out of the week, and then a lot of the Christian teens did this, and college kids. Then they have a couple days off, they're in Israel, free. They work in the fields, they work wherever they're gonna work, they eat, they're good, and the weekends, bam, they're out checking out Israel. And that was a very common thing back then. But you still can. So when you go to a kibbutz, you're gonna find people, not only Jews, you'll find people from Europe in there, from Asia, they're just at the kibbutz working. And they're just hanging out there, and they're at the kibbutz. So that's the kibbutz.
The tourists have to pay, like, to go inside each place, they have to pay to eat and all that, or one price, or?
You mean for us, you mean?
Yeah.
It's all part of the tour price.
Oh, okay.
You go in there, you stay free. Now you should tip the waiters, you should tip the bed chambers at all the hotels, and you should tip the bus driver. That's all in the price. So I tip everybody for you. So you're all tipped, everything's covered. That's in that price. So when you see the price of $4,200, I think it is, for Israel, and 50, that price, that includes your airlines, that includes your transportation to the hotels, that includes the tour guide, that includes the bus driver, that includes interest to everything. It includes all the tips of all the restaurants that we're at. It includes you're supposed to tip at the counter of all the hotels. You're supposed to leave a substantial tip there. That's all included. I tip all them. So I tip the restaurant, I tip the front desk, I tip the bed chambers, ladies, everything's covered. Everything's covered in that price.
So you don't use none of your money at all?
You don't have to.
Just to buy your jelly.
Buy jelly.
And ice cream.
Yeah, you can buy souvenirs. Souvenirs, and there's about 6 or 7 lunches you're gonna have to buy if you want to. I don't think we bought one lunch that I can remember, Connie and I.
Just one.
We did?
We went to try the falafel.
Okay, so we bought a lunch. You can buy a lunch, you don't have to. You can grab some extra breakfast, or some cheese and some extra bread. They have great bread there.
So
Just
extra
take it with you.
baggies.
Yeah, just take it with you and eat it, whatever. But if you say, I want to eat, then eat. It's not expensive. It's like eating lunch here. They have good little falafels and shawarmas. And it might cost you $5, $8 for lunch at the most.
What kind of jelly is it?
It's fruit jelly, all kinds of fruit, right from the berry tree bushes and all the stuff in there.
Berry, choke cherry.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. It was good stuff. And the hardest part about this tour is you've got money you want to spend on souvenirs you're in Israel, and the shopping, there isn't a lot of shopping until you get to Jerusalem. So people have to spend like 8 days with this money to spend, and there's nowhere to spend it, man. So you go to Tiberias, I'll buy something. Oh, that's good. Okay, buy it. Then you get to Jerusalem and say, I shouldn't have bought all that. Huh? There's a lot of stuff down in
You
Jerusalem.
can bring it back in the thing.
Yeah.
Mhm. Do you have to eat the jelly there? Or do you
Except
bring it
fruit.
home?
I think you can bring it home.
I think, yeah, we brought it home.
But you can't
We had to
open
be
it.
checked, but.
Just put it in your suitcase.
You can't open it, it has to be sealed.
Yeah, just put it in your suitcase and it'll go through.
Well, we ate what we opened.
Yeah.
There was no,
Everybody?
there was no problem with that.
Let's stand up and introduce ourselves to people watching, because there's people watching that you will meet. My name is Khan. Rachel, just stand up so they can see who you are. Who's this?
Hi, my name is Rachel.
Stay standing. Stay standing. Keep looking. This is her daughter.
I'm Monica.
So mother, daughter, going. Okay, thanks, guys. Introduce yourself.
This is Linda.
This is Linda. Linda's retired school teacher.
Yes.
retired school teacher. Gary, look in the camera.
Hello, I'm Gary Johnson.
Gary, this is his second time to Israel. He went this the first time he's going again.
Hello, my name's Michael.
Still, stay standing, Michael. Keith, stand up alongside your dad there.
Hello, I'm Keith.
Michael and Keith, two father-son group. Amos and Robin, I don't know, you're gonna be close. You're gonna get a really close shot of Amos.
Hi, I'm Amos.
I'm Robin.
Amos and Robin, first timers. Kathy, introduce yourself quick.
Hi, I'm Kathy, and I kind of hope to see all of you there.
Yay! Sandy's returning.
Yes. Hello, I'm Sandy.
Sandy is was our guest speaker at the Women's Retreat again this last weekend. Sandy has been our guest speaker twice now, and it's been amazing to hear the results of it. I understand she's got a very strong teaching gift. So those of you watching, if you want an awesome speaker, guest speaker for your ladies' retreat, women's retreat, contact Washed by the Word. We can arrange to have Sandy there as your guest speaker. She's very good. You will not be disappointed. This is my wife, Connie.
Hi, everybody.
There she is. And this is the group here today. We've got about 2, 4, 6, 8, about 10 folks not here today. But this is how Israel 101 goes. People come and go. And we're glad you joined us today. And we won't be having class now until the last Sunday of the month. We have Israel 101 on the first Sunday, the second Sunday, and the last Sunday of every month. So we'll be back together in 3 weeks. 3 weeks from now. There's 5 Sundays this month. All right, see you guys. Thanks a lot. We're done. Yay.